Hey guys, it's Maniac, and it's finally time for that new season to start. But with so many patch notes being added to the PTR earlier this week, I'll actually try to be theorizing about how these changes will affect your favorite heroes, and to help you figure out how you should start the season, and how you should adjust once these changes go live. Spoiler alert, Baptiste will be affecting a lot this season, so expect me to mention him when I'm talking about just about every hero. I'll also be giving each hero a rating of 1 to 10 to help you decide on who has good overall effectiveness. For more guides about how to improve your gameplay and get to the next level, be sure to go check out GameLeap.com for guides made by top 500 players about any and all topics you can think of. So first up, we have Ashe. Now, we've had Ashe in competitive for a little while now, and those who have adapted to her aim style will definitely be seeing good use out of her this season. Even if you feel like your aim isn't anything amazing, you can still have good effectiveness on her if you practice effective usage of her dynamite. Thankfully, the changes involving Mercy won't do too much in the way of affecting hitscan heroes such as Ashe, so doing with a Mercy is still a very viable strategy. With Baptiste coming to the game and a high likelihood of him being in a lot of your games upon release, Ashe should be a good combo with him as well, since her Viper and Dynamite both get damages from his amplification matrix. Also, Bob gets the benefits from Immortality Field, so coordinating with your Baptiste to keep Bob in the fight will definitely go a long way towards getting the most effectiveness out of your ult. Once these new changes come into effect, Ashe will be a very strong pick, and I'm giving her a 10 out of 10 right out the gate. Next up, we've got Bastion. In previous seasons, Bastion hasn't really been very strong. He doesn't see a whole lot of changes to himself, but we will see a serious indirect buff to him thanks in large part to Baptiste, but I'll get to that one in a second. Currently, bunker cops with Bastion are relatively strong on some points, but are easily countered by Sombra. Nothing really changes from Season 14 Bastion for now, but as soon as Baptiste gets added, we'll see some insane changes to how you can use him. With Immortality Field coming in, bunker comps where your team is grouped close will be stronger than ever. Pairing Immortality with Amp Matrix will make Bastion a nearly unstoppable murder machine. However, due to all three of these abilities being able to be hard countered by EMP, I can only feel comfortable rating Bastion at a 7 out of 10, but don't let that put you off as he is still looking to have some crazy potential this season. So now we come to Doomfist. He's finally getting a buff, and you may be inclined to start playing him again, especially if you used to play him. However, despite the decrease on his cooldowns, he still lacks the sustainability needed to make him as strong as he used to be. I definitely won't encourage a lot of Doomfist one-tricking, but if you miss being able to play Punch Guy, go ahead and try him out for a few games and see how well you do. His ult is still an effective escape tool, and it should be a bit easier to get away from fights where you bite off a bit more than you can chew. He also still is excellent in specific circumstances, namely last point stalls. Thanks to these buffs, I can feel comfortable rating Doomfist at a solid 5 out of 10. It's definitely not great, but it's a much stronger place than it used to be. And now coming over to Shimada Brother number 1. He's actually going to be seeing a bit of a nerf this season. So he's going to start out just as strong as in Season 14, which is pretty much par for the course. But once Baptiste enters the scene, expect some serious changes. You're going to see less nano boost, less kills with Blade, but most importantly for the Genji, less healing. Whether he's on your team or on the enemy team, Baptiste will seriously mess with Genji play at all levels. Another thing to bear in mind is that due to his exo boots, Baptiste is going to be pretty tough to dive to take him out of the fight early. And to make matters worse, a Baptiste on your team will have a very difficult time healing you with his projectile healing. Overall, I'll be rating Genji as a 6 out of 10 and in the worst state he's been in all of Overwatch history. Now, Hawkeye, aka Hanzo, is getting a buff, which is actually pretty good for him. A 2-meter radius increase to his Sonic Arrow will make him a lot more effective in terms of scouting things out and seeing more enemy positions. Pre-buff, it loses a lot of effectiveness and can really only be used while holding an angle where an enemy is peeking the corner. But with the new buffs, it'll be significantly more effective, but it still doesn't increase his overall effectiveness. Hanzo won't get much extra benefit over most of Baptiste's kit once he comes in, but his Amp Matrix will allow Hanzo to do significant amounts of damage. Both regular arrow shots and Storm Arrow will absolutely melt anything you hit, especially if you can hit some headshots on tanks. Honestly, I expect to see some Hanzo clips just clearing out entire teams. Overall, I'm going to have to give Hanzo a solid 8 out of 10. Moving right along, we've got Junkrat. Now, while he still isn't very strong, the buffs coming in will up his utility in certain situations in a pretty good way. He still won't be able to one-shot anyone without a damage boost, but he'll be getting some nice new effectiveness against shields, specifically bunker comps. While an extra 20 impact damage doesn't sound like a whole lot, and going from 8 shots to break an Orisa barrier down to 7 doesn't seem like a huge improvement. If you combo this with Ant Matrix or just have the rest of your team shooting in, it will be a bit faster to melt shields and also hit any large hitboxes, such as Orisa, Roadhog, or Bastion. He's also one of the heroes who will be affected by the Mercy damage amp nerf, though not quite as heavily as a certain other. Against Baptiste's Immortality Field, Riptire won't be able to kill enemies inside, but it will have the capability to destroy the field and give your team an opportunity to clean the rest of the low health targets up. I'll rate him at a 7 out of 10 since he still will be a bit of a niche pick, but with some better effectiveness than before, and also being a decent option against Baptiste. Now we get to McCree. So he's finally getting a bit of a nerf to his fan the Hammer that was just buffed at the beginning of last season. Losing 30 damage total from his fan won't be a huge change and will still give you some pretty good flash fan combo usage, but will help negate the usefulness of more fan-happy McCree players. He is getting a massive boost to Deadeye though. As long as you can stay far enough away from the enemy team, you can now use this to absolutely destroy tanks or teams behind a Reinhardt shield. But just be careful not to let an Immortality Field ruin your massive play of the game. He's in a pretty strong place right now, so I'm pretty comfortable placing him at a strong 9 out of 10. Now as far as the Ice Queen goes in Season 15, she is seeing a slight DPS increase, but it's not really going to make her a great option for one-tricking. Arguably the most important part to her kit is her Ice Wall, and the health nerf it's getting will likely make her significantly less effective in specific circumstances, namely when shutting down choke points and splitting teams up. Now though, a team will be able to break the wall to reunite to full force. It'll be easier to use her to get individual picks and likely chase down enemies with her primary fire instead of needing to rely on her secondary fire to finish them, but her overall playstyle still remains the same. Keep being Satan and making people hate the Ice Queen. I rate her a 6.66 out of 10. So here's a big one. Pharah. One of the biggest changes we'll see with these patches is to Pharmacy. It's not necessarily a nerf since all of the damage numbers with boost remain the same, but it is an adjustment to playstyle that any Mercy players you run this combo with will likely need to take some time to adjust. The buff to Pharah's explosion damage is minimal and won't really do much, but it will help you confirm some of the kills you felt like you should have hit, bringing her a bit back in line to her previous glory. However, don't forget that there is another hit scan player being added to the game, and coupling that with the fact that he synergizes fairly well with other hit scans, your time in the skies can be severely limited without good positioning. Keep your wits about you and you can do massive amounts of damage though. Something to bear in mind is that you can actually destroy the Immortality Field, or at least take advantage of enemies grouping inside it to build ult. So don't give up on the fight just because it gets thrown down. Pharah's in a pretty strong state overall right now, so I'll give her actually a 7 out of 10, but don't be afraid to switch off her if you're feeling particularly ineffective. Reaper. So the Edge Boy wasn't particularly strong in a lot of situations before the PTR changes, and now they're just going to make him a little bit less sustainable. He's still a great flanker and will likely remain in about the same place in the meta as he was before, but you won't get much benefit from Baptiste's kit except for maybe his healing pods, since Wraith Form already gives you invulnerability, and unless his Ant Matrix is positioned specifically for you, you really aren't going to get much effectiveness shooting through it. Overall, I don't think Reaper will be a very strong option in a lot of situations, and I can really only feel comfortable rating him at a 6 out of 10. Soldier 76. Finally getting a proper buff, Soldier is looking to be in one of the strongest states he's been in a very long time. At the start of the season, he has a solid and overlooked hero pick, but I urge you to play him now before the buffs. The reason why I say this is because getting used to him now and improving your play will make you that much stronger when he receives direct buffs to his damage output and ult usage. Being able to target Riptire and Immortality Field will make him very effective against Junkrat, and also improving his ability to end the enemy team's immortality faster, giving your team the chance to clean up a fight even sooner. Overall, I'm going to rate him a very strong 8.5 out of 10. Sombra. She is going to be the god of Season 15 in terms of DPS characters if you play her right. Not only will using her hack on health packs be more effective now, but also she counters a large portion of Baptiste's kit. Using her EMP to synergize with other teammates will likely be leading to more multi-kill assists than ever before, since teams will be staying more grouped up whenever a Baptiste is involved. Keep going for those crucial hacks on tanks and farming your ult quickly so you can have it ready whenever you need it. She's going to be a great pick this season, and I encourage you to take the extra steps to improve your Sombra gameplay, such as reviewing your own gameplay, seeking out a coach for VOD review, and watching educational videos about the sneaky hacker. Big 10 out of 10 for Sombra this season if you can take the time to put the practice in. And Mind Builder Lady is actually getting another buff to her primary fire, which should make melting down barriers and tanks even easier than before. She still gets the benefit of gaining ammo while holding her primary fire on barriers, so be sure to use this to build your charge, melt the shield as much as you want, then push in once you're ready to do maximum damage. Her teleporters are very strong when used as a flank tool to affect the enemy team and throw them off, but what's perhaps even more important to address is her spot in the meta. You might remember that early in Season 14, a certain 3-stat consisting of Colorblind, Evil Toaster, and Stevo was destroying the top level of play, and now that bunker comp very well may be coming to the forefront of the meta, Sim plus Bastion will likely be a very strong combination to run. She does require a bit more of a methodical approach than heroes you likely have more time on, but her ultimate turns out to be a great counter to the extreme amounts of damage Baptiste Defense Amp may put out. Only time will tell for certain for this hero, but if you can get it organized enough, you can definitely make Sim work well this season. I'm actually going to be giving her a 7 out of 10, which may be a bit high in some of your opinions, but I'm interested to see how she comes into play this season. Torbjorn. So, one of Torb's biggest issues has always been his fat, chunky, albeit short, hitbox. It's been like this ever since launch. Now, with a new base health pool adding 50 armor and taking that armor from his overload ability, he'll be a lot more sustainable in general, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really add a whole lot to his kit. We've seen Defran bring him into the Overwatch League, but please listen when I say that Defran is a professional player and is extremely good at pretty much everything he plays. I urge you not to play Torb just because you saw him run it in the rain and get a win with him. He's an okay pick, but highly situational as to where I would run him, such as first point Numbani defense. There's a few good places to run a Torb, but not enough to where it's a good idea to pick him up out of the blue. One of the best ult combos before was Grav plus Molten Core, but unfortunately with a new Immortality field, you aren't going to pull off this combo quite as effectively, and are better off using his ult to keep sustained damage on choke points and on objectives. I can really only feel comfortable giving him a 4 out of 10 since there's nothing really special about Torb, which unfortunately is actually the lowest rating we will see. So we're coming towards the end here, and we've got Tracer. There really isn't a lot to be said that's going to be different about her, except that she will be slightly weaker than she was in Season 14. The reason for this is that now there's a new support that'll be played a lot, who can get out of her range very easily and is also a hit scan with a dangerous amount of damage output. If there isn't any high ground around him, you should be able to dive him and focus him fairly easily, which sounds good, but unfortunately he still has a personal heal ability that'll give him extra sustain against something like a Tracer dive. The name of the game is going to be positioning yourself to go in after his cooldowns have been expended and get in on him quickly. If a Tracer isn't able to effectively attack the supports, she's not doing her job properly and will have significantly reduced impact. It also will be harder for a friendly Baptiste to heal you, similar to playing a Genji, so keep that in mind. By all means, give her a shot if you become accustomed to her playstyle, but look out for the new things coming to the game. For Tracer, I can only give her a 6 out of 10. Now lastly, we've got Widowmaker. I'll come right out and say it. The new Widow changes affect the Widow player themselves minimally. If you die as a Widowmaker with walls up, chances are you've lost your opportunity to use them anyways. However, it will affect your team's ability to scout things out a bit if you go down, so do try to keep that in mind and not pop them when you're in the middle of the enemy team. The nice thing about the adjustment is that seeing enemy health bars while using Infrasight means that you can prioritize your targets as Widow and know if you need to go for that headshot or if a body shot will suffice. Playing at range, Widow can be a strong counter to Baptiste since she can one-shot him through his healing ability and can destroy his immortality field in just a couple of shots. You likely won't be able to synergize with Baptiste in many situations, but if you ever do get the chance, you can one-shot body shot most squishies through Amp Matrix, which is definitely not something to scoff at, and can be a good motivator to put yourself in a more team-friendly setting. Overall, Widowmaker is still a strong pick that rewards good aim and positioning. I may be a little biased since she has been my main since I started playing Overwatch, but I'm looking forward to her changes and can easily see her being a solid pick this season. 8.5 out of 10 overall rating. If you're looking to improve, remember to go check out GameLeap.com for more guides on positioning, ability usage, meta changes, and more, all by top level players looking to help you get your game to the next level. And that's going to do it for this video today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it because I definitely had a blast working on it. Let us know down in the comments who you plan to main this season and why.